An assistant principal is suing South Bend schools. I've got a couple of South Bend school stories here over an alleged religious discrimination. Assistant principal for 2 South Bend schools has filed a federal lawsuit against the city school corporation claiming that she has repeatedly been denied job promotions, is paid less, and regularly harassed because of her religion and national origin. Latifa Augiri, I apologize if I wasn't able to get that correct, filed a lawsuit on Tuesday with the U.S. District Court of Northern Indiana against South Bend's Community School Corporation. She's a Muslim woman, originally from Morocco, and has been employed with South Bend schools for 22 years, currently works as an itinerant assistant principal for Marquette, Montessori, and Monroe elementary schools. Her lawsuit says that she has applied for a principal position with the school corporation 3 times since 2016. Now, keep in mind, she's been with South Bend schools for 22 years. It's not like she's new. The last time being July 2018. She was denied the position each time, and the job was awarded each time to a less qualified candidate, according to the lawsuit. Now, that is subjective. We don't know exactly if those were less qualified candidates. They could very well be more qualified candidates, or they could be as qualified candidates, and maybe their personalities are a little bit better with the kids, or what have you. I don't know all of the circumstances. I'm just telling you what her lawsuit says. She also claims that she is being paid less than at least one other assistant principal with less experience, according to the lawsuit, and is, quote, harassed by members of the school community because of her religion and national origin. Now, this one I find interesting because there's a guy running for president who's got a Moroccan name, right? No, not Morocco. Is Pete Buttigieg Moroccan? No, that's not Moroccan. It's the other one. Never mind. Just forget I said that. It's another one. It's not Morocco. I apologize. So anyway, she says that she has complained of harassment and disciplinary treatment to the superintendent, was told to, quote, get a thicker skin, according to the lawsuit. In April 2018, she filed an internal complaint, claims that the school corporation did not address the complaint. The lawsuit does not name the superintendent, but Kenneth Spells held the role during the time described in the complaint. Of course, not there anymore. Todd Cummings became the district superintendent in July. Prior to his new role, Cummings was hired in 2017, served as a human resource director for a year. Okay, so not saying that she's right, not saying she's wrong, just letting you know that that is happening. And in the meantime, South Bend schools, one of the things that we were talking about when this Red for Ed thing happened, one of the things I kept running into was teachers who did not know about the educational funding increase in the last budget, which is a 2.5% increase each year for the two-year budget. Remember, they do a 2-year budget. And teachers also didn't seem to know that $130 some odd million was taken out of the rainy day fund specifically to boost teacher salaries in Indiana. And they weren't aware of that. And one of the responses that I was getting from them is, well, my pay hasn't gone up. And they were probably right, because this was up to the independent school districts to apply that money. And Penn did it right before the Red for Ed thing. Mishawaka, I think, did it. And a lot of school districts hadn't applied that money yet for various reasons. Okay, I'm not saying it's nefarious or they're doing anything wrong. I'm just letting you know that it was purely on the school districts to be able to apply that money to salaries, how they saw fit. But a lot of people didn't realize that the governor and the legislature in Indiana had prioritized educational funding, and that educational funding is nearly half the budget. So a ton of money goes into education as a percentage of what we spend budgetary-wise in Indiana. And there was this, huge increase, 2.5% each year, okay? If you go back to when Pence took office, there is $4 billion more in education funding than when he came in, all right, from that first budget. So anyway, South Bend area teachers are getting pay raises as push to boost education funding continues. And again, if you look at education funding in Indiana, Indiana is better than the majority of the country, but they are almost in the middle, okay, just slightly above most of the country when it comes to education funding. They are 38th in teacher salaries. That is something that has to be addressed, at least somewhat. Now, some of you, okay, They don't work all year round. Some teachers don't. Some teachers do. They get extra time off, that sort of thing. And there's a discrepancy in some school systems with younger teachers versus older teachers. And the older teachers, as we all know, get paid a lot more, and that helps boost their retirement, that sort of thing. So there's various things that we can obviously discuss about that. I can only give you the averages, okay? So every time I bring this up, I get swarmed with text messages and emails about this. I can just give you the averages because I'm not going to sit here and break down gobs of data. We don't have one district here. We have lots of districts here, and we cover a lot of municipalities, so I can't just break down one place. I try to occasionally when I get an opportunity, but it's not something that I can do in general. So what I can tell you is that Indiana funds their education pretty darn good. They don't pay their teachers very well compared to the rest of the country on average. It doesn't mean that there aren't a lot of districts that pay their teachers very well, and it doesn't mean that there aren't teachers that make a lot of money. All I can tell you is the averages, and the average is the state of Indiana is about 20th in the country for educational funding, which is good, and they're 38th in the country for teacher salaries, which is not so good, okay? That's all I can do is tell you that information. Most of the city's school teachers will get $500 added onto their base salaries after the South Bend School Board approved a new contract with the local teachers union on Monday this week. The agreement will raise the starting base pay for the corporation's teachers from $38,500 to $39,000. That is the starting base pay, okay? I have to say this again because there's always somebody here's part of it, and they send me off some screed. That is the starting base pay. The 2019-2020 salary range for teachers will now be between $39,000 and roughly $75,000 a year. Yes, there are some who make about $75K a year, which is a darn good salary, okay? Teachers eligible for the salary increase must be rated effective or highly effective and have been employed for at least 4 months, all right? So you've got to be doing at least somewhat well at your job. Anybody really have a problem with that? I know that there's some people who have a problem with that, but nobody should actually have a problem with that. The agreement also calls for all teachers with 1 to 5 years of experience to receive graduated salary increases from $1,000 to $1,500. Remember, the reason I said the other one being just $500, and some of you are rolling your eyes already, that is the starting base pay. Okay, you have to have 4 months experience. The starting base pay to be able to get that. Everybody else, start moving along, teachers with 1 to 5 years can get $1,000 to $1,500. All certified teachers who complete the 2019-2020 school year will also get, all certified teachers, everybody will also get a $750 stipend. This is what I was talking about when the Red for Ed thing was going on, and I kept running into people who were yelling at me at various points about this, that they did not realize the educational funding that had happened in the legislature that was pushed by the governor, by the way. You remember his wife is an educator. And it also did not include, a lot of people had no idea that we dipped into the rainy day fund, you know, over $100 million to put this money, give teachers pay. And it may not be everything that you want, and it never is, right? It doesn't matter how much you get paid. You always want more, and there's nothing wrong with wanting more, especially if you're worth more. But if you are one of those teachers who didn't know all of these things, and I had a lot of them go, oh, well, I didn't hear about that. I know. Not a lot of people were telling you about it. It's important that you know. It doesn't mean that it's going to meet all of your requirements or what you think you're worth. It's just you should know that there has been some progress there and that you're getting a pay increase that's coming here shortly. But the school district's got to give it to you. And the school district, of course, now they're doing it. Different districts are doing it on a different timeline. I don't know why. I'm not making any accusations. I'm just letting you know it's up to the districts to do that. So it's nothing to sneeze at. It really isn't. You know, teachers who have 1 to 5 years experience can get $1,000, $1,500. If you got 4 months experience, you get $500 as long as you're rated well. And everybody who finishes the 2020 school year will get $750. Pretty darn cool, if you ask me. Raising the base salary was important, but this agreement really allows us to help everyone out. That is Linda Lucy, Teachers Union President. A lot of our 1 to 5 year teachers don't get paid well enough anywhere in the nation, especially South Bend. Yeah, you know, and you could say that the 5 year thing is, you know, that's a gap. 1 year and 5 years are miles apart for experience, if you ask me. But they lump them in there, and they do that for negotiating reasons, and they're just doing the best for what they can do. The Mishawaka School Board also improved the increased base pay for the corporation's teachers by $1,200 to $39,200. Teacher salaries now average from $39,200 to roughly $69,800. So we talked about that when Mishawaka did that. They go into Penn and all of the other ones here locally that have also been doing that. Okay, just so everybody's well aware. All right, 574-2595, 95.3 coming up next. I know you're all shocked. People are not happy with the leaf pickup program in St. Joseph County again. We'll talk about that. Newstalk 95.3, Michiana's News Channel.